Hi guys, Troublemaker here, and I have a 1v1 on an actual 1v1 map. Yes, this is rare, where the map actually matches up with the people playing it, and this is in fact a ranked game. It is a Blufor versus Redfor, and on the Blufor side, we have Helilgehop... God damn it. Helilgehopfastaur. Helilgehopfastaur. Sure. And his opponent is actually going to be DurosSVK. And DurosSVK is the guy who does a ton of ranked. I've ran into him a few times. He's quite high on the ladder and a very, very solid player. So this is a very cool map. Worth noting, there is a slight starting bias for blue going to alpha and red going to foxtrot. It doesn't have too big an effect though, because the actual land that you travel here is quite broad and open. So at best, blue might be able to sneak into these two towns here. Might be. And on this red side, they might be able to stage in these woods here. But once again, that's a lot of mites. In the middle of the map are the two-point bases. And there's this giant nest of trees here, which are very treacherous. This is the side that the red get, are the trees. And blue gets these towns here, which are also very, very difficult to pass by. You can place an infantry into this town here, this one right here, and an AT infantry in this one here, and you can pretty well wipe out almost anything that comes through there. So a lot of the fighting on this map tends to eventually fall to the two flanks, Foxtrot and Alpha, and as they get pushed, you have to replenish. And there is no rush involved here. Generally speaking, you try to actually go for both sides, and then put a small presence in the middle. Some people try and push the middle. It's rough, but it happens. And we're have to see what these guys plan to do here. Now, we do have some helicopters moving around flanks here, so we might see a little bit of a jizziness here. A couple of helicopters moving around the side here can do a decent amount of damage, and it looks like a cannon going to get rallied in. Perhaps he will be joining them as a spotter. And worth noting, here's something a little weird, and people who play ladder know what this is all about. People who don't play ladder have no idea why this is. The biggest thing to do in ladder is actually a big giant helicopter rush, and so he's placing, like 50, 60, 70, 80 points per units at the starting base. And people do this in ladder just because helicopter rushes are so prominent. You really can't avoid it. And so that's going to put him about 80 to 90 points behind in his opener. We also have a nice little helicopter pairing. We have a recon helicopter with an M24V. And these kind of helicopter openers are very, very common. With Soviets, usually what you see is the seed helicopter, the Ka-52, with a regular helicopter. And sometimes a different recon helicopter can join in as well. And this is interesting. He's actually going to use these helicopters to try and bum rush this side. So he is in range, and we'll see whether he can do the damage. Now, these Spetsnaz screws should become invisible. Yes, they do. And he's getting a decent number of shots off here. There's nothing here anti-air, so he should be able to do a decent amount of damage. And this is a very, very unique opener. I've basically never seen this. And he killed basically all the vehicles. None of the infantry really took any damage. So given the cost of these helicopters, it was probably a mostly unsuccessful opener. But having said that, he also didn't lose anything until right now the Gazelle cannon moving too close to the Tunguska M, which, has some kind of radar guided systems. And these cablers are actually going to be able to pick up these Spetsnaz screws. Super popular unit, by the way. And he's actually going to move right into the jungle. Jungling is really, really difficult because you can place motostrelkis along these flanks here to do decent amounts of damage. A BMP-1 can start unloading on the Keeler, but does get pushed off. Doesn't even get a single shot off on the Keeler. And the Keeler is going to continue marching forward, so this might be something that Duros is not quite prepared for just yet. In fact, Keeler is getting first shot on the T-72As. He probably wants to push off some of these. A good advantage to doing these split tanks like this, and you can micro back the weakened one and push forward with the strong one. And this could also come to a position for the support. Now we do have some vehicles unloading on the infantry in the range here. Keeler going to go right up to the motostrelki, going for one shot perhaps before pushing up. Actually going to keep going because he's actually got a full-on panic. And Panzergrenadier will continue storming in here. And, ooh, great shot here by the BL Mistral, able to pick up a unit. And the Spetsnaz screws, in fact, did survive, as did the ones down here, in fact. And so far, it's anyone's game. Duros gained a little bit of income for having his 2-point base slightly faster than Helilgehopfastaur. And looks like he'll be able to actually clear this jungle, which is a big hit for Duros, because now he's basically opened up this area to attack, and he can siege along this area. But like I said, the action usually, and I did say usually, happens on the flanks, and that's what Duros is working on. He's got his Spetsnaz crews moving along the longest path possible to try to get to the front. And Cassiopeia, which of course is not the same thing as these. These are Cassiopeias, and Cassiopeia is actually a character from Battlestar Galactica. Also worth noting, there is in fact a Berryusa here, probably rallied out a little bit later, as well as this Gansky, just to kind of deal with this Cassiopeia harassment, which has been super successful. The BTRDs are almost dead, so if they take one more shot on the front line, they are definitely gone. We also have a Fallscream Yager moving in here, and the Fallscream Yager shouldn't be able to do too much. It might be able to stage a position like right here, and hit this way, possibly. But, like I said, there's a Berryusa here and an Afghansky. Both of these can just wipe the floor with the Fallscream Yager, given the large amount of range here. And looks like the T-72A is getting a few shots off of the Martyrs. Are these rallied units going to, every single one of them, will they all take shots? But no, looks like the Cassiopeia are actually landed right now, and will be hiding here for just a little bit. And, no, here they go. They pop up to do some shots. Unfortunately, there's just nothing back here for Duros to deal with that. It also provides amazing intel on what exact units are coming out. And look at this great choice of PFOK Leopard 1A1 Recon tank. And something that even I didn't know, but apparently the glasses actually indicate the levels of recon. And these guys with just the goggles are the lowest of the low. They are good. Yeah, perfect. And then you have these guys, which are very good. And then when they have an underline under them, that's exceptional. So that's something that I learned just recently. See, there we go, exceptional, the underline. Blows my mind. You know where I found that out? Reddit. You know why? Because it's gold. And these little tanks are pretty neat, because they can hunt down vehicles, they can sift through the woods and do some sneaky attacks. And actually, it looks like both players are kind of going for each other's throats right now. I'm not seeing any new vehicles popping in. And the Cassiopeias are finally cleaned up here. And looks like he's going to play a little bit sneaky here. He's a Kaufenhauer, putting another, probably, group of infantry, possibly Panzergrenadiers, moving in through here. And they're both fighting tooth and nail for this area. Spetsnaz group actually able to bypass the Martyr 1 and will move through the open into a patch here to gain very strong vision along this area here. Martyr 1s, this is sacrificial spotting information. He just wants to see what's alive here. As it turns out, he can kind of see a nice bit here. He knows there's two directions firing. He knows there's at least 20 infantry here. He's actually going to go ahead and move his Panzergrenadiers up, which is rather unusual. And the Puma actually going to go ahead and move all the way around. Look how much anti-air has been forced here by DurosSVK, all because of those Cassiopeias, which to me have suddenly made themselves more worthwhile than they were before. They forced out way more. They did damage, and they also forced out a ridiculous amount of anti-air units. And so this is going to make this infantry-heavy approach with these tanks very strong, because now all of these units will just, I like to call it whomping, just, sucker punch, hard counters. A lot of these guys, BMPTs, by the way, have those frag grenades, so you don't want to engage them with any kind of infantry units. Just absolutely stomp in infantry. And yeah, he's actually bringing out a Commando Marine, which will be going across here, through the jungle, and possibly get that command. So he's playing a lot of behind-the-line stuff. He's leaving his front line very vulnerable, but he's doing a lot of cool stuff. Now, the VDVs do, in fact, spot this infantry carrier. One of them goes down, and looks like he might throw away the other group of Jagers, perhaps? Yes. Now, he can rush those into the woods to save them. That's one option. Or he can have them sit here and basically die. It looks like they will in fact sit there. There is a leopard coming in for a little bit of support, but it doesn't have the right gun. It has that tank vehicle slang gun. It doesn't have the anti-infantry MMG rounds, and so these Jaegers should in fact go down relatively easily. VDV is taking some shots, but nothing in the comparison. This is only one VDV firing at the moment. Now, you do actually want to save your infantry. This is something that a lot of people don't consider because they will gain veterancy and become psycho-killing machines. And yeah, here comes the rocket pods from the MI-8 MTV. Yes, the MTV, which is carrying a command, which he's probably going to place just on this corner here. Even though it's an infantry command, even though it makes sense to put it into a town, you can put them in these corners because that's just not suspected. It's right out in the open. That's the reason why it's not so suspected. Commando Marine, I'm going to have to keep an eye on that guy because it feels like he will do something. And we have a MiG-27 SALH. Probably going for this Keeler. Can do a Keeler kill. And this should be done pretty easily. But whoa, we have lots of anti-air fire from the Flak Panzer. Flak Piz. That's the Flak Panzer Gepard. And looks like this miniature push should be mostly deflected. The Leopard 1A1 can't quite target the MI-8 MTV. And it looks like this command is in fact going to move up. He had an opportunity to bleed out his opponent a little bit more. A new command is coming out here for Helilgehopfastaur. So that advantage should run down relatively soon. And, the map has worked out so that it's a slight advantage to being blue in the south and slight advantage to being red in the north, which is rather unusual because a lot of times it's actually the opposite. Commando Marine, by the way, in the south moving in. This looks like a distraction play. A lot of times you will, show a lot of tanks and whatnot to try and distract them from your true objective, which is to destroy your main base command. And with these 1v1 maps, losing your main base command is actually really bad for you because you only have the one. And once you run out, that's it. You are donezo. And MiG-27 actually stunned. Well, now he will escape just before getting damaged. And these Leopard 2s are pretty big bad boys. I mean, one thing we were promised with Wargame Red Dragon was that we were going to see a lot of big tanks. And that has really not happened, actually, until just basically this patch. So Commando Marine will continue in here. There was a little bit of fire here. I don't see what that is, though. And look at these sneaky infantry coming behind enemy lines. A BMP-1 is basically just in position to fire, and he does unload just so he can fire. And double Malatuka? Malatuka, I guessed it right that time. Double Malatuka coming up, and this Jaeger kind of slowly moving in here. Should not be able to get too far, or too close, I should say. And actually going to go ahead and move in with these tanks. And like I said, when you force out this kind of unit composition with lots of anti-air, you can do this very heavy, powerful ground-based approach. Because now they're prepared for a lot of planes, and they're not prepared for this kind of push. Preemptively, the game has decided to liberate this zone. And he's actually bringing his command in the 2-point base. That is absolutely brilliant. Also, the Commando Marines looks like they're going to get caught. And this is the unit we were worried about. The Berryusa just evaporates infantry and planes very quickly. But with him grabbing this 2-point base, he's going to gain that +1 advantage. And it's only +1 because there was actually a command here at Alpha. However, if we see more commands rallied out, which I'm not sure we will, judging by the number of tanks coming in here, this is very bad. Very, very bad. This Jaeger moving into this town here, he wants to block off this road from here. He wants to make it into a one-base play. And this is very similar to... people may remember the name, people may not remember the name, but there was this lad named FIFA55. FIFA55 is the one and only Wargame Cup champion. There were ESL Go for Wargames, but he was the only one who won the Wargame Cup. And he would play these kind of plays where you squeeze box people in. You make the map a lot smaller so that your micro matters for more. Now, in this particular case, he's cutting off Alpha. He has Alpha completely encircled. These Spetsnaz crews are freely moving around the map and can do some nasty stuff. And he might be able to actually limit Duros to this one base, which would be almost impossible to come back from. Now, there is a Moto Suzuki 90 coming in here to try and do something. Puma trying to intercept him. Not quite going to work with the Berryusa here. And we see the Motostoki will have to take on a lot, actually. 40 Panzer Grenadiers, 8 Jaegers, 2 Mantra 1A2s, which are equipped with, I always call them the Blufor cans, but I guess it's called an auto-loader. And they will quickly make work of these infantry. Oh yes, stunned very quickly, pushing them back. And this position is going to go down. The one Martyr goes down. We have the VBL Mistral coming in for a little bit of spotting information, but I do not foresee this group of Motostrucky taking on this Martyr 1A2. It's very, very difficult to do so. And yes, that will be the end for him. And Duros is rallying at these planes. He's got an anti-raider plane trying to get down this flak panzer. If you turn off your weapon, the missile actually misses. And whoa, we have some SPZ Lukes coming in here. Talk about a blast from the past. And they were successful in spotting this Spetsnaz crew. And this is one of these weird relationships that nobody uses, but is actually true. You're supposed to use these vehicles as recon hunters. There's also a very well-placed Leopard 1A1 here, just looking for this specific type of cheesy play. And, bravo, actually. This is a textbook match, and I haven't actually seen someone play kind of textbook like this for a while. And there we go. Actually, Duro seeing the words in the sky, realizes it's time to quit. Very well played by Helilgehopfastaur. He does need a name change, however. Beating, a 2,000 point player himself, a little bit higher. Playing very, very well. Look forward to seeing more of this Helilgehopfastaur. And hopefully, when we have tournaments coming up, if we have tournaments coming up, we'll see him participating on somebody's team. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, my name has been Troublemaker. It probably won't change next week. I'll see you then.